With Velixo, building out new reports and pulling data from Sage Intacct starts with using functions just like you would with Microsoft Excel. So let's just build out a quick trial balance. As you'll see with Velixo, if I see check on my connection manager, I am pulling in my connection Tablespoon dash ph custom demo. Let's put in, we want to pull a trial balance from 12/1/23 to 12/31/23. I'm not going to filter by any location at this point. We'll look at that shortly. So we're going to pull all of our data globally. We are in an Intacct instance in which there are two locations, E001 and E002, that we're going to be pulling data from. But for now, we're going to pull everything. And I am going to pull the accrual book. So now if I want to get my full list of chart of accounts, one thing I can do to start that, and instead of just doing a Velixo function, is I can hit my insert chart of accounts. And it does bring me my connection info because I could have multiple connections here to confirm which connection I want to pull my data from. So I'm going to validate that that's the connection I want to pull my data from. And then now I can, so here's all of my GL accounts. Now if I want the account names, I can type equals SI, and the all of the Velixo functions start with SI. And then now I'm going to type account name. And then it wants me to input the connection name, which I will select right here. And then I will put a comma here. It's now wanting me to get the account code, which is referenced over here. So I'm going to type in A11. And then I'm going to put a pound sign here so it knows to do it for all of the rows below that. My close parenthesis, hit return, and then now I've populated my GL accounts. So now I want to pull the opening balance as of 12/1/2023 in this column. So I will use the function equals SI dot opening balance. And as you type it, it will input it for you. Again, I want to confirm my connection name to start with. I am going to pull an account code instead of an account group. So this would be a reporting group or an account group reporting group. Instead, I want the account code over here in C11. So what I will do then is skip over the account group. You'll see this works just like Excel functions. It tells you what needs to be input as you go here. So I will now select A11. And again, since I want to copy this down, I'm going to do a pound sign. And then now I need to put in my start date, which I'll select right here. Select my end date, which I'll select right here. My location ID, if we wanted to input a location ID, let's go ahead and select that right here. And then I am going to be pulling the accrual book data right here. If I wanted to filter by specific dimensions, in addition to that, I could add those dimensions right here, which we'll look at some examples of that here in just a moment. So I'm going to hit return here. And you'll see it's busy tabulating my numbers. It does take a minute for Excel and Velixo to pull the data from the source system. Here's my numbers here. If I wanted to format this, I can format these cells so that I have numbers with comma separators and parens for my negative values. So there's my opening balance. The next thing I want to pull is the activity in period. So I will type in equals SI dot turnover. That is another function to pull in period data. Same thing here, connection name. And then skip over the account group, A11 and a pound sign, so it'll copy my GL codes down. And then basically repeating the same process as I did for the opening balance. Start date, comma, end date, comma, location ID, comma, and then finally my reporting period. And there is my end period activity. So again, I can format this. And then finally, let's do our closing balance. And that would be equals SI dot closing balance. And again, repeating same steps. To get all of our parameters like we did for the opening balance and the end period activity. Return that. Where once I adjusted this to A11 to pick up the GL account, it's now got my activity only for E001 right here. So the other way I could do this is, since I put in the function for location, I could put in E002, for example, and it will pull my data for this location for these three columns right here. Again, you see it recalibrating the numbers to make those calculations. But I can also build these out so that it will pull them by column over here. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to build out a report. The key is getting used to the Intacct functions or Velixo functions used in Excel. And you go into a field and type equals SI and then dot, and it will give you your list of functions right here. So a couple other things I want to share. Once you have data in Velixo and Sage, from Sage Intacct into Velixo and Excel, is I can click on a particular field. Actually, let me go here into a report that doesn't have a long column list of data. So let's go to the store dashboard. And just to show you how this is built out. So a couple things I've done here that are at a little bit higher level than the basic report I built is I built out a lookup function to made this a list box for all the reporting periods. And here are those periods with the start date and end date. And what that allows me to do, and then as well a drop-down box to pick your store. And then I have it picking the store, which then populates with an X lookup back to the dimension data, picking the store ID and location. So this gives you some more versatility in the fact that you can now select reporting periods and it'll recalibrate your numbers. Notice when I selected that reporting period, it selected my start date and end date with a X lookup going back to this reporting period table tab to find my dates. And so I built this as essentially a summary report that you can then expand down and see details. Like here is the gross product sales. Here's promotional discount activity to calculate a net sales number, cost of goods sold activity here. So as you go into one of these formulas, you'll see we are doing the same kind of thing as we did on our other report, where we're pulling the specific dimension, starting with our connection. In this case, we are doing an account group, which is the name of the account group here in this left column, column A. So, and as a result, we're skipping the account code. We're pulling our date fields up here for this particular column, start date, end date. We're pulling our location right here. We are pulling the accrual book. And then this is where we're filtering by department, which happens to be the store in this case. So it's looking at value D6 to pull or the connection for here. And then we're telling it to pull the department ID, and that department ID sits here in A8, which is a lookup from this value right here. So all of that gives us the ability to pull the gross sales for this particular store in this particular location for this particular time period. So what I had mentioned earlier was the ability to drill down in your data. Now that we have data from Sage Intacct on this particular report, I can select this field and I can hit drill down right here. And you'll see it's in the process of pulling this data from Sage Intacct. This can take a moment. And so now it has pulled of that 132,000. Here are 3 entries that make it up. And then if I want to view the actual transactions for that, I can drill down even further. And then here is the $25,000 entry. And there's my sell for it. And then I can actually view the actual batch. And what that will do is take me into Sage Intacct to see the specific journal entry. So once you pull data into Velixo, you still have the ability to go back to Excel and see your source data. So that $12,000 is somewhere in this entry from when we did our drill down from this file here. This or $25,000 is in here. So so I think a really cool feature is the drill down functionality. Some other things you have at your disposal when you're in Velixo is you can hide 0 rows, you can hide 0 columns, and then you can come back and do an unhide all, sort of improving the view of your Velixo report. And it turns out I have built this to where I'm hiding the source data and content so the user can come in here and select the reporting periods and have these numbers recalibrate for them. As you see here, let me pull this back up. One of the things I want to point out is we're telling this to pull base budget data here. So this is where it is pulling not only your start date and end date, but it's pulling the budget ID called base budget to be able to get columns of budget data as opposed to just actual data as well. So you do have the ability to do budget versus actual comparisons, as you see here with the data.